Hi, this is Wade Kapsakavich, Mayor of the City of Toledo. Those folks who know me best, friends and family, know that Franklin Roosevelt is my favorite president, always has been. In fact, when I was just starting to get involved in public life, I would have a little party, get together, fundraiser, if you will, every January 30th, because that was Franklin Roosevelt's birthday. He helped us through probably the most difficult time our country has ever faced. With the possible exception of Abraham Lincoln and the Civil War, I can't imagine any president facing tougher circumstances than what Franklin Roosevelt faced. He was dealt not just a Great Depression, but then also a World War. He got us through that. Now, we can debate his policies. There are some who believe that his New Deal legislation ushered in an era of government dependence that we are still struggling with. But those on the other side would argue that he actually helped save capitalism and the American way of life as we know it. And when you look at what was happening in Europe at that same time, how many of those countries were moved over toward fascism and Nazism and communism, I'm a little more inclined to take that view of history. Again, we can debate whether his policies made sense or not, but no one can debate how he made us feel about ourselves. No one can debate the way he made Americans feel about themselves and the sense of optimism that was so important in getting our country through its most difficult time. We need that again. We need some good old-fashioned optimism and a good old-fashioned can-do attitude. We are in for some difficult days. I think everyone knows that. We're at the beginning of something that's going to be very tough for us. These are going to be dark days, but they're not darker than the Depression and World War II, and yet we got through that. My grandfather, both grandfathers, fought in World War II. My mom's dad, who built one of the first homes on Bennett Road in West Toledo, he fought in Italy, and my dad's dad fought in the Pacific. They were a small part in that generation and this country rising to meet the challenge. And they did so about 10 years after they pulled themselves out of the Great Depression. Americans can do great things. We have faced tough times before, and we're going to get through this also. But we need some of that optimism and some of that spirit that Americans have always held dear and that Franklin Roosevelt connected with a little better than most. So, this isn't a radio broadcast. I'm not sitting next to a fireplace, so this isn't a fireside chat. I'm sitting next to a computer, and you're watching this on social media, so we're going to have a little fun with this and call these Wireside Chats. And we're going to do them from time to time, maybe once a week, maybe more if needed. We're going to use this for an opportunity to tap in to the optimism and good that we all have within us. Abraham Lincoln talked about appealing to the better angels of our nature. We need to do that again. We're being told a lot of things that we can't do right now, but there's a lot of things that we can do, that we can still do. Reconnecting with family, spending time with family at a safe distance in a way that maybe we haven't in a while. Getting on the phone and calling someone who's lonely and needs to hear from a friendly voice. Donating to a charitable cause. Getting out and getting some exercise, walking the dog in your neighborhood. There's a lot that we still can do. And at a time when our country before this has been so divided along silly lines of partisanship or race or religion, I want to view the period we are entering into as an opportunity for us to unite and to show a brotherhood and a sisterhood that maybe has eluded us for a long time. We can do that, and we can do it if we are mindful of what Franklin Roosevelt said. He said that we have always held to the hope, the belief, and the conviction that there is a better life and a better world just beyond the horizon. Those words are just as true today as they were in 1941. We're about to go into some dark days. In fact, the dark days have already begun. But there is a better world and a better life just beyond the horizon. And we have to understand that we'll get there, and we'll get there together. So, this space, this video, and we even have a silly little graphic to let you know when we're going to have these Wireside chats. We're going to save this space for optimism. Sure, we'll use it to talk about things that you need to know about unemployment, things that small businesses might need to know about getting relief or reimbursements during this difficult time. We'll have ideas of ways that you can cope through what's about to happen, the latest updates for how the city is adapting to our new reality. Sure, we'll talk about those things during these Wireside chats, but we're never going to lose sight of the fact that we can get through this, that we can do this difficult thing, because Toledoans and Americans have done difficult things before. Remember, it was Toledoans who built the machine, the Jeep, that helped win that World War. And then a few years later, it was Toledoans who built the machinery that put a man on the moon. We can do anything, and we can get through this. It's okay to be concerned about the period that we're entering, but we don't want to live in fear. In fact, fear itself is the only thing that can hold us back. We'll get through this, and we're going to do it together.